Hello, my name is Deborah Lately, and I am the Director of Advocacy at the Disability Resource Center. Welcome to the DRC's Advocacy Skill Building Training. I am glad you're all here with me today. Let's get started with Session 2, Audience, Resources, and Tone. Let's review the major points from the last session. You may recall that being persuasive means trying to convince a decision maker to think a certain way or to do or not do something. There are three parts to being persuasive. First, say what you want or need. Second, why you want or need it. Third, support your want or need with facts. It is important to make sure you say how and why the issue is important to you and to make your feelings about it clear. Otherwise, the decision maker won't know why you want them to do something about the issue. Personal testimony is speaking at a public hearing so that decision makers understand how a proposed change will directly affect the lives of people living in the community. Persuasive writing is writing a letter to communicate your interests and feelings about a particular issue with the decision maker in your community. Remember, you can put a lot of thought and effort into writing a letter or preparing a personal testimony, but if it doesn't reach the right people, it might not be effective and cause change. Let's review our focus topic from session 1. Everyone in the world has some kind of disability. There were four questions that everyone answered. And the first question is, why is this issue important to you? And what I'm going to do is summarize the answers that I received for each question. And the answers for question 1 is everyone struggles with something in their life. It is essential to educate the general public about disabilities. It will not go over well with able-bodied people since the word disability has a clear stigma. Sometimes others are not aware that a person has a disability. For number 2, how does this issue affect your life? I know that I'm not alone in this. Others struggle as well. My life is indirectly affected by the individual I support. How to cope with many people around me with a disability. Inability to locate a disabled parking place happens to me frequently because I do not look disabled unless I use my walking aid. It's nice that we get special parking spaces, but if the use of them is not clearly reviewed with the lawmakers and the users, it renders them useless. Question number 3, how does this affect the lives of others in your community? It causes me to be willing to care and show respect for others since we all struggle with something. We are not perfect. They are often not given the opportunity or experience their peers are given, like school activities, sports, dating, careers. Many group gatherings to know about disability would help. Handicap spaces are becoming less available in public retail places. And the last question, what might a solution be? What do you want? A solution would be to be more open to caring about others and giving them our full respect. We are all in this together. more programs like Tim Tebow, Night to Shine, or a prom that encourages united programs. Schools should have programs to meet the needs of a more diverse student body. Due to increase in curbside pickup, parking places to the door are less in quantity in retail places, such as grocery stores, to make everyone aware of different disabilities so everyone knows about it. What are we going to do today? In this session, we will talk about the audience or who we will write letters to or give personal testimonies to, resources we can use to help us with our advocacy, and what tone we should use in our letters and personal testimony. Now let's review figuring out our audience. Knowing who to contact about a certain issue is important. If your message doesn't reach the right people, it will not be effective and you will not get the change that you want. Your audience are the decision makers you need to write or talk to about your issue. Some issues might have only one audience, but others might have more than one. Sometimes you might want or need help to come up with supporting facts to make your persuasive writing or personal testimony more effective. It's good to know who you can contact in your community to help you. Resources are the people or groups who can help you gather information about an issue or help you advocate. So far, we reviewed figuring out our audience. Now let's talk about introduction to tone. There are two types of persuasive writing or personal testimony you can give. The first is positive, in agreement with the decision or proposal, and the second is negative, against or opposed to a decision or proposal. What you want to say in your writing or personal testimony will help you decide what kind of tone you want to use. Tone is the attitude of a writer or speaker toward a subject or their audience. In other words, it's how the writer or speaker feels about what they are writing or talking about. Tone isn't just words you say or write, it also comes across with your body language. Let's talk about examples of tone. Depending on our audience, we might use different tones. On this slide, you will see a list of examples of tones and also pictures of tones. For example, happy, sad, angry, frustrated, confused, etc. Anger is often a motivating reason why people want to write persuasive letters or give personal testimonies. But if we speak with anger and hostility in our voices or word choices, it can make it hard for our audience to listen to our perspective and take us seriously. It is good to express anger calmly and clearly, and then clearly explain why you feel that way. If your word choice makes it sound like you're yelling or being mean, try to find different words to use instead. One good way to decide on an effective tone is to figure out how you are feeling and why you feel that way before you decide what to write or say. One technique is to write two letters. In the first letter, say everything you're thinking about the issue. This is a good place to express anger or to vent. No one will see this letter, so don't worry about the tone. If you don't give others the opportunity to get the hurt feelings and anger out so we are aware of them, it's harder to keep them from creeping into our advocacy initiatives. In the second letter, think carefully about your tone. Try to write more calmly and clearly. Are your statements clear and persuasive? Or are you attacking or hurting the person you're trying to persuade? Will your statements help your cause? Remember, tone isn't just written or spoken words, it is also conveyed with body language. Let's have some fun and work on an activity of examples of tone. And the question is why we should or should not eat ice cream for breakfast. When you answer this question or have a discussion with someone, what did you notice about your tone? What did you notice about your body language? Is it easy to listen to someone when they are using an aggressive tone? What tones do you find the easiest to listen to? So far, we reviewed examples of tones. We will now look at our group brainstorm. When we brainstorm for a personal testimony or a persuasive writing, we want to think about who is our audience? What does our audience need to know? What resources can we contact for more information? Are we writing a positive or a negative letter? What tone or tones should we use? Let's review our homework assignment. You may recall during session 1, we looked at the picture of a man using a wheelchair not being able to get out of his van because the car in the next parking space is parked in an access aisle. When you're completing the worksheet, review the brainstorm questions on the previous slide. They will help you address the question in the worksheet. I also want you to think about if you want someone to do something for you, is it better to ask politely or to yell at them? What tone is effective and persuasive? What about the tone made it effective or not effective? Thank you for watching this session. Click on the short survey link below to let us know how we're doing. We love your feedback.